Hello there, and welcome to this video on my YouTube channel. My name is Jeremy Ginsberg, and in this video I'm going to be talking about breath work. Apologize for the background barking from the neighbor's dog. But this is a part 2 video where I'm going to be discussing the Buteyko Method, Wim Hof Method, Infinity Method, which is something my partner and I have created, as well as some others. And so I have a list of some notes that I plan to get to, because the last time I made this video was about a year and a half ago, 2017, I believe, or maybe 18. And at the time I was much more confused. I was transitioning out of the Buteyko program and back into Wim Hof, where I had spent a good chunk of my life devoting to as a daily practice. So in this video, I'm just going to build on what I discussed on the last video, as well as discuss some talking points and what I found to be helpful for me. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to do a little guided breath work of something that I've created that combines both methods together. Both methods meaning the Wim Hof Method and Buteyko Method, and just the breathing aspect of it. I'm a big fan of what they teach outside of just the breathing, but this is going to be focused on mostly just the breath itself. All right. So the conclusion that I've come to is, even though they may contradict each other on some levels, they're both great complement to each other. So the way I see it, the Wim Hof Method is more like, it's a breath work. It's more like an exercise, where the Buteyko is a practice. It's something you can constantly do throughout your life. And I find that they work super well together. Just to talk a little bit about what's going on scientifically and where that bridges the gap, the way we teach it in Infinity Breathwork is it's very similar to the Wim Hof Method, but because they don't have teacher trainings in Southeast Asia where I live, I haven't been certified. But it's more along the lines of that, because I find that Wim Hof Method, it's sexier. It gets you high. It has immediate effect. People can feel it. Where Buteyko is more the long-term, disciplined, focused, concentrated approach. But how we break it down is there's 4 aspects of the Wim Hof breathwork, or of the Infinity breathwork. And the first one is flow, where you're just breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. And this is really just to let go, to get into your body, to shake things off. But it's also a great way of getting out of your head and just into your body. And as you're doing this, your oxygen levels go up and your carbon dioxide levels go down. One thing that Wim Hof has said is that this is not hyperventilation. Hyperventilation comes from more of a place where you're not in control. You're anxious, you're going through a traumatic experience, and you're not in control of your breath. Because this is controlled breathing, it's not hyperventilation. And from my experience, it doesn't have the side effects that come from hypoventilation, because you're in control. You're consciously doing it, where instead it's like your body's doing one thing and you're freaking out and panicking, and it's this reinforcing cycle. So that's the first aspect. And we use the 4 elements to connect with each of these parts of the breathing. So the first is water. So if you've gone through Wim Hof's fundamental course, you can hear him say, go and flow like a wave, just like waves crashing. So this is a great way just to get out of your head into your body. Second aspect is the retention, and this is element of earth. It's very grounding. So after the 30, 40, 50 breaths of flow, you exhale and you retain your breath. And this puts your body into parasympathetic nervous system, which is what you're also doing in the Buteyko Method. In the Buteyko Method, you skip the flow and you don't exhale everything out. You just breathe naturally and then you hold. So this is the aspect that overlaps between the 2 methods. And this is where a lot of the healing takes place, because the flow is really just to get loose, kind of a warm-up, but this is what's called hypoxic training. And this is where you have an exhale, you're feeling grounded, and your blood is alkaline, so you don't feel the need to breathe. But also what takes place is, because you have a high level of oxygen, low-level carbon dioxide, you can hold it for a long time. This feels nice. This is very freeing. It's very liberating. I learned a breath technique from a Tibetan nun, and the practice that she was teaching is a bit similar to this, but she was explaining how there's energy channels in your system, and this breath work clears those energy channels, which are connected to your mind, so you don't think as much. So it can help with anxiety and any other mental disorder, because you're just clearing up the headspace. So it feels very relaxed and gentle. But the powerful healing effects that actually takes place is during this grounded earth retention aspect, because towards the end, so at first carbon dioxide levels are low, and then oxygen levels are high, and then over time carbon dioxide levels start to rise. And so now your body is thinking, oh, we have a high level of carbon dioxide, we need to breathe and get more oxygen and less carbon dioxide. So what this does is it opens up your cells. On a cellular level, you're opening up, and then you can start to, it's kind of like fasting and starvation mode, but on a cellular level. So this is super powerful and super healing, because anything your cells are holding on to that's not efficient, it can start to release and detox. And so that's the main aspect, the main healing thing. And you can feel it. I can feel it. Even if I just do a little breath retention or control pause for just 10, 20 seconds, as carbon dioxide fills up, I start to feel better. And the way that Patrick McKenzie explains it in the Oxygen Advantage is that carbon dioxide is like a doorway. So it's a doorway into your bloodstream. So the more this doorway is open, the more oxygen can flow into your bloodstream. But as we breathe, our blood oxygen saturation level is usually 95%. So you can't really add that much oxygen. And so that's where we move into the next aspect. We have flow, we have the ground, earth, and the retention. And then when you take the inhale, that's fire. So you're breathing a deep breath in, and that's where all your blood, your cells have opened up to release things, because it's like, shit, we gotta get oxygen. What do? We have too much carbon dioxide. We're not sure what to happen. And that's where your cells become more efficient. And so you're learning how to be more efficient at a cellular level with high levels of carbon dioxide compared to the level of oxygen. So when you take that deep breath in, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It's like all of a sudden, whoa, you have this rush of energy, because your cells are like, oh, we need oxygen, expecting just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you have a huge breath, and it's like, whoa, oh my gosh. So where I got tripped up is in that third breath. The Wim Hof, he calls it, deep inhalation, hold for 10 to 15 seconds, squeeze straight to the head. I come from a background of headaches, migraines, fatigue, and so that, while it can take me into amazing places, I've had some out-of-body experiences, you can see lights, beautiful things happen, I found that it's not very grounding. And so afterwards I come back and then my headache gets worse or something like that. And so that's where I feel like you have to have an amount of receptivity to that amount of energy in your body. If you're still detoxing, from my experience, that can be painful. And so if you're out there suffering from headaches or any type of illness, and you find the Wim Hof method isn't really doing the trick anymore, I would experiment taking out that last fire breath and just breathing in, out, retention, and then from there you can go straight into Buteyko, which I'm going to demonstrate at the end of this video. Or what I do is I just take a small inhale, and then instead of holding and going straight to the head, I swallow my breath, I send it down to my lower chakras, my lower energy channels, feeling grounded. I can flex my PC muscle, then I flex my abs, and then maybe I'll come up to my chest, maybe to the head. But these are combining Taoist and yogic techniques more from the East, where the Wim Hof method is more just about power and going straight there. So that's the third aspect, fire. And the last one is wind. And this is something that I've developed as well, because from that Wim Hof, squeeze to the head, go, often we can just and let go. And it's this like big transition back, and that's when people can pass out as well. And that's actually happened to me. I was doing this on a chair that wasn't very sturdy, held the inhale, fell back, hit my head. I was seeing all these lights, cracked my head open, ended up getting stitches. People are like, you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, I feel amazing. What are you talking about? So it can be a little bit dangerous because you can pass out, or you can become I think it's just having too much oxygen in the body. That's actually something maybe more people can chime in and explain what exactly goes on. But from my experience, I don't ever pass out from the retention. What happens at the bottom of the retention, because recently I actually got mine up to about 3 minutes, and it's really powerful, is DMT can be released, so you can start to see lights. So it's really beautiful. So I feel like that's a more grounded approach to peak experiences going through the retention, which is what Buteyko is exactly aligned with. So the reason we added the air on the last one is just to stay in control, to stay in the center. So after the deep breath in, just slowing down, relaxing every muscle in your body. So in the Wim Hof Method, you're starting off with flow, which is kind of relaxation, but it takes a lot of energy to do that. Retention, you're going into the parasympathetic nervous system, then back into the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, heart rate goes up, adrenaline, cortisol, etc. And then with the extended exhale, can re-stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. So the retention, the groundedness, that's where the two really overlap, and they're both really powerful. Next other thing. Okay, one thing I want to really talk about is you can learn a lot about the practices just by looking at the creators and the founders and their background. So Wim Hof comes from a more athletic background. He holds a lot of Guinness World Records. He's this freak who can do all these amazing things, and that's great. Nothing against that, but there's an ego element to that, where for a while he was proving reporters and people that saying, I can do this, I'll prove to you I can do this, I can do this. And then the breath technique is kind of, hey, you can do this too. So understanding that's where it came from is very helpful. Where the Buteyko method came from a Soviet scientist, doctor, maybe even both. And it was more healing. He was healing people. He realized that, the carbon dioxide level in your body really makes a difference on how your body operates. And so in order to be highly healthy and functional, then you can work at this level. And so completely different approaches, but you can see how Wim Hof is, this strong yogi doing these poses on mountains, and the Buteyko is more science. All right, what did the patient score? What happened? There's numbers involved. At a certain control pause, X things happen, and it's more of a healing technique, or at least that's where it came from. Wim Hof Method is extremely healing as well, but it's more from this kind of third chakra, power, control, let's do things, let's conquer the world, empowerment, which is great. Just something to be aware of when you're embarking on these things. So again, how do I use these practices? I do the Wim Hof breathwork or infinity breathwork, depending on, it's just a name. Can't really trademark these types of things. I think it's a bit silly, but I do that. That to me it's an exercise. And when I facilitate workshops here in Asia, I tell them that it's like going to the gym. So you wouldn't want to go to the gym for 6 hours a day and just keep exercising and keeping your body in this stress. It's something you do for 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I think the most I've done is like 2 hours of consecutive breath work, but I'm a bit crazy. And then Buteyko is something I do all throughout the day. So it's something I do. I'm riding on a scooter. I'm always doing Buteyko. It's something I can even incorporate into my coaching conversations, when I'm singing. It's a practice. It's something you can do always, and it's amazing, and it's very powerful. And it also requires a lot of discipline, and it really helped with concentration. I remember once I was doing a healing session, and it was required to focus on this pointing stick, and the psychotherapist said something to me. He's like, wow, I can tell you're an experienced meditator. And I remember thinking, I hadn't meditated at all. I was just doing Buteyko, 90 minutes a day. And so it really helped me with concentration. It's very grounded. It helps be grounded. I take a lot of THC for pain relief and headaches. And if I'm hungry or I'm feeling kind of loopy, one round of Buteyko and I'm just back in my center and I'm grounded. Or even better, just put my hand over my nose, and then whatever I'm already doing, it just helps me go inward. So if on my way to the bathroom, I do that, and I can just hold it and continue. What else? The best time to do each, I find that the Wim Hof Method is great on an empty stomach. It's great to do first thing in the morning. It's good to do before or after exercise. And the Buteyko Method is great pretty much all the time, and that's the beauty of it. It's something that you can consistently do, and it comes from this more kind of Eastern approach where you can just always maintain that level, where the Wim Hof, it's like up, down, you know, you build up the energy, but then sometimes you lose it if you can't maintain it and store it. And let's see. Oh yeah, and then I wrote a Lao Tzu quote that they really talk about a lot in the Buteyko Method, is that a perfect man breathes as if he's not breathing. And so the Buteyko Method is really about, okay, if you watch a newborn baby, it breathes with its entire body, but it's just barely breathing, just in, out, in, out, in, out. So the basis of Buteyko is coming back to that, where you barely have to breathe. And if you look at the yogis in Tibet and Nepal, India, those types of the world, you know, they're not doing these intense breathing. And to me, that's helpful to realize that I feel like the Wim Hof Method came at a time where we're so unhealthy as a society that we need to take 20 deep inhalations. We need to do this hyperventilation, which isn't actually hyperventilation. Wim Hof said that the doctors called it Hoffen because they had to make up a new word for it. But we need to go deeper and use more energy in order to have the healing effects. Where if you go to older civilizations that are more in harmony with nature and just living peaceful lives, they don't really need to do those things. It's just it's a powerful practice, but they can achieve the same healing effect or the same results through the yogic techniques, the fire breathing, Tumo breath. There's a couple different ones. I don't really know a lot of the names, but they can take you to similar places, and I feel like the Wim Hof Method is something that the West needs, because it's almost like people need to do more because they've come so out of alignment with their natural state of health and feeling good. So what else? So one thing that I also wanted to talk about is the Buteyko Method. I feel like they're very strict. It's all about like never breathe through your mouth and tape your mouth and all these things. And to me, I found that a bit disempowering and a bit too religious, of just like cookie cutter. It needs to be this specific way. And yeah, so as of this video, I'm using my mouth to breathe a lot. At the same time, it's a great way to be aware of how you're breathing throughout the day. Where I see a lot of people in the Wim Hof community, they just do it once a day and then they can go back into their regular programming, etc. Where the Buteyko, it's really a practice, it's a lifestyle, it's something you constantly do. Where are you breathing? And one thing that we teach at Infinity Breathwork as well is Wim Hof doesn't really talk about the effects of where you breathe, but you can breathe into your belly, breathe into your side rib cage, breathe into your chest. And what I see is a lot of people who get really into the Wim Hof breathing, they can all of a sudden skip the belly and just do chest breathing, which is just not healthy. If you're climbing a mountain and you need energy ASAP, it's a great way to give yourself some extra boost, but overall it's not a long-term great strategy because you're skipping your diaphragm, which helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So that's one thing. Also, I find it helpful to just play around with breathing through your mouth and through your nose. If you're doing the Wim Hof breath work, where Buteyko is always through the nose, never breathe through the mouth. And again, it really is a path to mastery. And one thing I've said at one of our breath workshops is, if you can master your breath, you can master your mind. If you can master your mind, you can master your body and your emotions, and then you can master anything. And I feel like every single moment, if you're in touch with your breath, mastery is the natural result of that. Where the Wim Hof Method is more power, control, happy, health, and wellness, and those things are totally great. But I feel like there's a lot more to the spectrum, because neither of the programs really talk about spiritual or emotional healing. And that's something that I had difficulty with as well, where it can open yourself up to trauma and you can have these detoxing experiences, but I find that both of them are more staying safe and talking about physical, this is what happens, this is what science proves. And then you have the yogic breathing techniques where they talk about energy and spirituality and intuition and all these more airy-fairy woo-woo topics. And so what I'd like to do is create a conversation bridging the gap and staying open to everything. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, it's all related. And the breath is a link between our insides and the outside world. So I think it's a beautiful time, an exciting time where breath work is becoming very, very popular, where meditation, we get it. Sleep, meditation, diet, exercise, breath work. I feel like that's next. It's simple, it's free, it's effective. People have been doing it for thousands of years. And yes, I'm just excited that this is something that people are actually interested in. All right, moving on. So I'll go through a couple more things, and then towards the end of the video, I'll do a little guided practice of something that I've taught clients where it's combining the two together. And one reason we call it infinity breath work is because I find that there are a lot of missing components from a lot of the breath techniques that I've delved into. And so infinity is, it's a big concept to think about, but we can find the flavor that works best for us. So I encourage you to play around with it, see what works. I can make more videos based on subtle techniques, but I just wanted to put this out there because the last video has been getting a lot of comments, and I wanted to follow up and say that I'm more firm in my beliefs and where I stand around this. And most of the doubt, the skepticism, the uncertainty was really coming from the Buteyko Method, because they were like, don't ever breathe through your mouth, you need to have a control pause of 50 before you're able to do these things. And they were kind of brainwashing me a little bit, so I'm no longer really in contact with that community, those people. At the same time, I'm really grateful for that, because this is a good segue into what I'd like to talk about next. Is the Wim Hof Method is great, but if you're going through deep healing, deep detoxing, if you're really sick, if you can't get out of bed in the morning, deep fatigue, then the Wim Hof Method isn't, in my experience, the right tool at the right time. You don't have enough energy. I don't have enough energy. If I'm having a horrible migraine, it's tough to sit there and say, all right, 40 deep breaths. Or if I don't have enough energy to do those things, then Buteyko can be a beautiful stepping stone along the way, because all I need to do is just plug my nose, really do nothing, and then it takes me there. It can give me a little bit of energy, where the Wim Hof Method takes a lot of energy. So what I wrote down is that the Buteyko increases energy efficiency no matter where you're at. You can be low energy or high energy. It's just going to help you feel a little bit better, where the Wim Hof Method, I feel like, just increases energy flow. But from my experience, if I'm in an emotional process, if I'm sick, if I'm going through a detox, it doesn't matter how many rounds of Wim Hof breath work I do, the process is going to come through. I'm going to get high for a little bit, feel a little bit better, and then I'll come right back down, because it's this part of me that's trying to run away, to control what's going on inside of me. And where the Buteyko has this gentle surrender, it's not always so gentle, but it's like, okay, how can I just be with this moment? How can I be more grounded, be still in this? Where I found it's much easier with the Wim Hof Method to try to run away from symptoms and say, all right, I don't want to experience sadness or pain or anxiety, so let me just breathe through it. And I feel like that carries with it a lot of this old, unhealthy, masculine energy of like, all right, I'm strong, let me just push through this, where the Buteyko could be like, all right, let me just meet myself where I'm at. Maybe my control pause is going to be lower because I'm having a detox right now, but we'll just see and just feel a little bit better. And it can also, it's easier to just keep doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, where with the Wim Hof Method, if you don't have any energy to begin with, it's really tough to get started. And so it's tough when you're in those really low states of darkness, shadow, ascension symptoms, whatever you want to call it. And another way I see that is just simple yin-yang energy. So if you're not able to receive, if your yin isn't big enough to receive the yang that the Wim Hof creates, then it can just bring more more side effects and more pain. And I experienced that for a while, where I needed to just relax and give myself space and compassion and patience. And I was just doing this breathing, and then I would, get high, and I'll get this little bit of relief, and then after that I'll just feel even worse, and my body's like, we just need to rest, we need to chill, stop forcing. And so that's one thing to be aware of, is just check in with your motivation before doing anything. And that's just great advice that a Buddhist nun who taught me one of these breathing techniques taught me. Just check in with your motivation. And what else? Oh, one thing I noticed, I went to a body worker, and I noticed that because of doing Buteyko a while, I had this bad habit of clenching my jaw, because I was always just breathing through my nose, so squeezing my jaw muscle. So if you're practicing Buteyko a lot, really tune into, once you get the hang of it, you can go deeper and deeper into relaxation. So for me, I can do Buteyko pretty much all the time. It's just something my subconscious can do on its own. So that's another benefit. It becomes a subconscious habit, where it's really tough to make the Wim Hof Method a subconscious habit that just works in your favor whenever. So as I'm doing that, I'll be doing a Buteyko practice, in, out, and then I can relax my shoulders, relax my jaw, relax, tune in, focus on, my energy, do other self-inquiry practices and dialogue with my higher self, and continue to build on the practice, where the Wim Hof Method it's more requires your energy and focus, because you gotta kind of have this transition between one round to the next, and it's just a little bit, it's more intense too. So I think I've hit most of the things that I wanted to talk about. So if you have any questions, you want to add stuff to this, again, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm just someone who's done a lot of work on myself and experimented with a lot of different tools. Maybe in other videos I can talk more about, cold therapy, and how to use the breath with exercise, or how to use breath with plant medicines, or other topics if you guys are interested in. But for now, I just wanted to make this video to build on the last one, talking about the Wim Hof Method, Buteyko Method, two other methods that I'm a fan of, Oxygen Advantage, Patrick McOwen, I forget, it's Patrick something. He studied with the Buteyko, Professor Buteyko, and he's broken it down into much more digestible terms. It's not as intense or strict too, which is great. And then Soma breathwork is another great extension from the Wim Hof Method too. The guy who created that, Niraj, is also close with the Wim Hof Method team. He makes the music. So that's another one to check out. I can make videos on that if you guys are interested in. And then there's other ones that are just yogic techniques that I've been doing for thousands of years that I'm interested in playing around with to see what it brings up. And I practice those more regularly, actually, because it seems to require less energy, but it can still provide the same benefit. So, all right. Anything else? Just want to summarize that if you're getting headaches, or you feel like the Wim Hof Method, if you've hit a plateau, I would really encourage taking away the fire breath in. Don't do that, because that's going back into your sympathetic nervous system. What I would do is just do the retention aspect and then go straight into the Buteyko, or play around with, instead of taking a deep breath in. And this is actually what the Soma method teaches. You basically do flow, in, out, 30 rounds, retention. And then at the bottom of the retention, it's called a booster breath. You take a little breath in, and then you exhale. So what you're doing is you're kind of playing, you're kind of teasing your body. You're like, all right, we don't have enough oxygen and we have too much carbon dioxide. So you take a little breath, so you're giving yourself a little oxygen, and then you exhale and you're getting rid of all the carbon dioxide and oxygen. So what this does, it takes you deeper into the hypoxia state. It's called intermittent hypoxia training. It's all over the web if you want to check it out. So that's another thing you can do at the bottom, and that basically takes you deeper into healing. It just opens up your cells, and I feel like that's, for me, been the most powerful healing aspect, where it maybe feel good to just do a flow, skip the retention, and do an inhale, which Wim does in the more the later weeks in his recent course, the fundamentals. But to me, that's more just about getting high and gaining energy and breathing more. And in the Soma breath work, the booster breath. And so check that out. There's other stuff on that, or maybe if you like, I can make a video on that. And then if you're still getting symptoms, instead of taking a deep inhale through the mouth, I would play around with breathing through your nose and going slowly. Tuning into your body, filling it up. And one thing I like to add too is use your mind and visualize where in your body do you want to send healing, because it's all just energy at the end of the day. It's just vibration at a cellular level. If you break it down, it's atoms, but it's just energy, Einstein's energy. And so you can use your energy in your mind to guide the energy within and fuel yourself and feed yourself and give yourself whatever healing you feel you need. So this video is quite long, but I promised a little guided breath work, so we will. So before we begin, I invite you to relax. If you want to shake your body, find yourself in a seated, comfortable position where you feel safe. Make sure you're not going to get distracted or bothered. And whenever you feel ready, just take some deep breaths into your belly and let it go. Deeply in and relax. And if you're still feeling a little tension, breathe in. And you can flex in the body, and then as you exhale, make a noise and just release. Just keep breathing in and let it go. We'll do a short round here, so we'll do just about 20 breaths. But just keep breathing in to the belly, up to the heart, to the head if you like, and let it go. This is flow, connecting with the element of water, just being with whatever's arising, breathing in and letting go. Deeply in and letting go. Just relaxing even deeper with each exhale. Deeply in and letting go. And just finding whatever style breath suits you best. Breathing through the nose, through the mouth. It's more about just getting in touch with your body and trusting that your body knows how to heal itself. Your job is just to get out of the way. So just breathe in and let it go. And if you're feeling an emotion that may feel a little bit uncomfortable or something that's coming up, feel free to make a noise on the exhale. You can just breathe in and then let it out. This flow energy, this wave of just breathing in is a great opportunity to release emotion. So get in touch. So you can breathe in and let out a cry. And let it out. Breathe in, let out a roar. Whatever it is, just keep on breathing. The more you can let yourself emote and get in touch with these emotions, the deeper you will be able to go in the retention, grounding aspect. So breathe in and let it go. We'll do 5 more. In. Just relax. Relaxing the shoulders, the neck, your tongue, your jaw. In and out. 3, in and out. 2 more, deeply in and letting go. And last one, fully in and just exhale and hold. And just relax and just be with the sensation, be with whatever's arising. Oxygen levels are high, carbon dioxide levels are low, body's alkaline, so you don't need to breathe. It's about 20 seconds. Just feel, just relax. Feeling is understanding, feeling is healing, so just be with it. That's 30 seconds. And when you have that first urge to breathe, instead of taking a deep inhale, which Wim Hof would guide, go straight into Buteyko breathing. So whenever you're ready, you can just relax and just have one hand focus on your diaphragm, the other on your nose, and just go in, out. Short, rapid, nasal belly breaths. So we've raised the level of carbon dioxide in our body, and now we're going to store it so that your body's able to maintain high levels. So in, out, in, out. This is called the recovery breath. Just let the noise of the barking dog bring you back to your breath. You can just focus on 2 areas of your body, the air coming out of your nostrils and your diaphragm where you're breathing into. So you can use your finger just to measure the depth of your breathing. So maybe you got to go here a little bit, but then you want to go really fast here. I apologize for the noise. Vietnam is a bit of a noisy place. So this is recovery, so you can do this for as long as you'd like, maybe continue as I wrap up this video, but for the sake of time, that is one round of kind of Wim Hof into Buteyko breathwork, or infinity breathwork as we call these new techniques that we've been creating. So, in summary, Buteyko, thumbs up. Wim Hof, thumbs up. Breathwork, double thumbs up. Keep practicing. They can be great, used and complement with each other. Both really powerful, and I do them both on a daily basis. I teach them to my clients. I run workshops and help others discover what breath technique works for them. So I like to empower you to find what works best for you as well, because it's all there. It's just breathing. You know, you look at the yogis, they've been doing different type of breathing techniques for thousands of years. So it's not like it's this new thing you get to make up and invent. It's more like you're discovering it. And so that's an exciting opportunity to become what I call the inner scientist and play around with what works best for you. And a great gauge of that is how do you feel before, during, and after. And so I invite you to play around with this stuff. Sometimes we call it a breath playground because not everybody wants to work all the time. So you get to play around with it, have fun with it, do what works best for you. Leave a comment, keep the discussion going. I love this breathwork community that has a lot of insights and information and experience to share. And if you're interested in one-on-one support, I do offer private coaching where we do breathwork, we do a lot of emotional healing, shadow work, a lot of tools and techniques to help move the energy, whether that's just for empowerment, healing, confidence, or whatever you're hoping to achieve. Essentially dealing with whatever resistance is in the way of you and whatever it is you want. So we'd love to connect. Otherwise, I look forward to hearing back from you, and leave a comment if there's any other videos you'd like to see, and I will do my best to make them. Once again, my name is Jeremy Ginsberg. Thank you for watching. I'm going to include some links in the description, so please check those out, and happy breathing. Thank you.